I'm learning now to allow myself to fail, but
I perceived it as you have to make it look flawless or perfect when other people are watching.
People aren't even paying attention enough.
the idea of me failing is a lot more uncomfortable than the actual failure.
Get on my motherfucking face. Please.
Push the goddamn button. Action.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Grae Area podcast.
Grae Area.
Yeah.
I am Shakoya D.
Bad man Breezington ear.
It's your boy Damani.
And welcome to the Grae Area. If this is your first time here, and welcome back if it is not your first time here, this is a podcast where we like to talk about regular life from a creator's perspective.
We do.
We love to break down the fabrics of life because not everything is always black and white.
It's not.
In layman's terms, that means that we like to talk about whatever we feel like talking about. It could be love, it could be life, it could be music, it could be movies, it could be food, it could be anything or nothing at all. We have interesting conversations and we love to bring you guys in on them and hopefully inspire you to have your own. So how are you guys today?
I am doing amazing.
I wasn't sure what word you was about to use when you paused. What about you?
I'm doing well. I'm overdue for a nap, but I'm doing well.
That's good.
How are you?
I just woke up from a nap,
Beautiful.
so I have some energy. I do. My nap was so good, I just wanted to stay
How
asleep.
good was it?
Oh, dang, I don't actually have a follow-up to it. I'll be ready next time. But,
It was so good I slept and met Jesus.
whoa. I don't know if I'm ready to sleep that deep just
Meet
yet.
me at the crossroads.
So, but yeah, it was a really good nap. I wanted to stay asleep for a lot longer, but we had to do the podcast. So, what are we talking about today, y'all?
So today, we're talking about giving yourself
Permission
to fail once a month. At least once a month. You want to talk about the video?
Yeah.
Do you know how to pronounce the lady's name?
Maya, Elias.
That's how it is. I was gonna say my alias.
I was reading it. I thought it said Maya Licious, and then I went.
My alias, my alicious.
I went to her page, and then the names were separate, and I was like, "Ooh, that makes more sense." It's Maya Elias is what it looks like. So, it's Elious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, wow.
Yeah. Unless it's E. Lewis, and that would be a whole different thing. But nope, that wasn't even. That's not the same spelling. Elias.
Or Elias.
So basically, this was So we saw this clip on Instagram. If you are in the Patreon, the link to the clip is actually in the description on Patreon. So we saw this video on Patreon by Maya Elias, and she was at a conference. I think it was one of her annual conferences that she does. And she was just talking about how your ego is holding you back. And a lot of times we're so focused on trying to do things perfectly that we don't allow ourselves to fail, or we're so scared to fail that we don't actually do the thing. So basically she was saying that failing is supposed to help you, or like even when you test things out, like the failure is supposed to help you figure out, all right, how do I make tweaks and improve on this thing. Like she was just saying, just because you have a failed like a failed moment or a failed product doesn't mean that your business is a failure as a whole. Just because like you have a failed like I said, moment, that doesn't mean that you're a failure as a person. And a lot of times when we fail at something, we chalk it up to that being our entire being, versus it just being something that we can learn from, or just a moment in time. And a lot of times it holds us back from doing anything that we're working toward. So I think all in all, the main thing was like perfection. Like is the idea of being a perfectionist, or trying to make sure everything is perfect before you move forward in things. It oftentimes holds you back. Do you guys feel like you have allowed yourselves to fail in the past, like willingly and was just like, all right, whatever happens. If I fail, it's okay. I'm gonna keep moving forward.
I would say no. I'm just now beginning to get to that point where it's okay to fail, but it's not even a failure. Like, I don't look at it as a failure anymore. It's just might be like a little stop sign, or like when you drive and the lights is flashing yellow. That means caution. Yeah, we might need to switch.
Slow down, move out the way, move out the way.
Pretty boy coming through, me and my crew.
I don't know the rest of it.
Either.
What about you?
Avenue.
I think it depends on what it is. In some aspects, I've definitely let myself fail. But again, in a similar way, I don't necessarily consider it a failure. But in other aspects, I'm just now learning to just kind of like, all right, well, this happened, and what can I take from it? Like I guess the best way to look at it for me now is like, if I do something and I fail at it 10 times, that just means I found 10 things that didn't work. So it's like, okay, cool. So the more I do it, that means now going forward, if I do something that's similar, I know at the very least these 10 things didn't work. And then once I get the right thing that works, I could just implement the right thing. But I guess I'm developing a better relationship overall in every aspect of my life with like failing with things. So it just depends for the most part for me.
I got one more thing. I was just gonna say, to my point that I was making before. In the past, it was a thing of I can fail as much as I want as long as nobody sees it. Like, if nobody sees it or knows or have any acknowledgement of me failing, I'm fine with it. I could fail
I used to feel that too.
every hour on the hour.
Oh, wow.
As long as nobody knows. But once, like, now I'm getting used to or normalizing or being okay with failing out loud.
That's good. Failing out loud.
Yeah, I agree. I used to feel the exact same way. It's almost like you feel like if you fail in front of somebody else, you have to justify like what's going on. You have to explain nasty. Why. It's like, oh, like, nah, I tried something that didn't work. And it's because I think whether it's in school or just how we grew up, like whenever we put ourselves in situations where we have an audience for a lot of things. So like, even when I know that I forget what might have been one video we were watching. It was like when you're a kid and you do something and it works and everybody claps, right? It's that same thing, except like when you're failing, we're expecting people to say something negative. When in most cases, when you fail at something, people don't really even say anything.
Yeah, like, just keep it pushing.
Yeah, it's like they may watch you and be like, ooh. And like the thought might be in their head, but they don't ever actually. At least in my scenario, like the people don't ever usually say anything, unless it's like I trip or something. If I fail falling up the steps,
they don't always say stuff about that either.
Yeah.
You have said something. He tripped up the steps.
I tripped up the steps today. I'm coming back home.
Oh, you was outside.
Yeah. The dog was behind me. I'm going up the steps. I'm like, I did a little jog. I'm like, let me get up the steps. I tripped coming up. Oh, she's like, oh. And I was like, it's cool. Don't even worry about it.
I said Nova was back there so she could catch you.
Yeah, just like, but again, it's not even really a failure, but just that idea of like somebody's gonna say something when you mess up. It's like,
so it's only the people that you know that's gonna say something. But the people closest to you gonna be like,
That's true, because whenever I see a stranger trip, I might laugh or something like that to myself, but I don't be, unless they make eye contact or say something to me, then I'm like, I just kind of say it to myself. I'm like, oh, let me go this way instead.
Yeah. The only time something like that has ever happened, this is the last side note, is when I was working at the bank. Somebody walked like super fast into a glass door, and like they fell, and I was like, oh, and I was like, I just did one of those, and some other people was like, oh, is he? And it's like, but it was more like, are you okay? But my initial, it was like out of shock. It was like, oh my good. oh, he walked in there like a bird. That's crazy. But like, I was like, hold on, is he okay? Because he fell. So yeah, that's the only other time that I've. In general, people don't say nothing. They just gonna keep it to themselves. Sometimes it slips out. We're not judging you. I'm not judging you.
Sometimes it really is just the reaction. Like, I don't really care, but just the automatic reaction was, oh!
I wasn't expecting that one.
Hey, Erical.
What's up?
Okay, so dang, y'all made me forget my next question. But all right, so I didn't answer. That's why I didn't remember my next question. Okay, so for me, what was the question?
I have no idea.
The initial, original question.
Yeah.
The question
about failing. Yeah, failing.
Oh, how often do I feel like I let myself fail?
That was the question.
Yeah, it was something like that. So me personally.
We are in dangerous territory, ladies and gentlemen. Dangerous territory.
There was no number attached.
No, not how many.
No numeric value attached to your question.
It was like do we feel like we typically let ourselves fail?
That was the question.
That's what I had just said.
You said how often?
And then I said, wait, no, and then I corrected
I didn't hear that part. Pardon me.
So for me, I'm just like you. I'm learning now to allow myself to fail, but I also didn't allow myself to fail in private, like private or public. So, and I guess for me, it was more so of a thing where if I feel like it's failing or it's not going well, I'm going to scrap it type of thing. Not that I won't try. Either I'll scrap it or I'll stop doing it and like I'll hold on to it. So like if we're using music as an example, there's a lot of songs that probably could have been released over the years that I was like, nope. I feel like something is just not, and then I just don't go back to it. Or I feel like I don't know, because a lot of things were made to think that it's supposed to look a particular way, because whether it be somebody else did this thing and we're like, okay, that's the blueprint, that's the model, that's how it should look. But it's like, I don't know how to get it to look like that. You got a whole team behind you. It's just me. If I can't get it to look like that, then I don't want to finish it or I don't want to release it. But just like in a lot of areas of my life, and I won't say it's every area, because one area I do feel like I allow myself to fail in. This is about to sound wild. I can cook, y'all, but when I'm cooking, or I'm trying new recipes, like I think that's the one area where I've always allowed myself to just try it. And then like, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. And then I'll just keep practicing until I get it right. But when it comes to a lot of other areas, particularly when it comes to like business kind of stuff, or I guess career stuff, I don't typically allow myself to fail. Like, I'd be too focused on it being perfect or looking a certain way. And if it's not that way, then I'd be like, no. Then the world doesn't get it at that point. So why do y'all think, like, what do y'all think it stems from, as far as, like, in the past when you didn't allow yourself to fail?
I would say for me, not allowing myself to fail would stem from my youth.
Elaborate.
Growing up, how I grew up, the standards that were set. You had to make it look. I perceived it as you have to make it look flawless or perfect when other people are watching.
Okay.
That's how I perceived it. Even if that's not how they meant it or intended on it to be, that's what I experienced.
Yeah, mine isn't necessarily that. Mine came from a different place of, I don't like the feeling of embarrassment. So like the feeling of me being embarrassed in front of people, because it's like, I know what it feels like to be embarrassed. So I'll see people and it's like, I'll get the secondhand embarrassment. and I'd be like, dang, I would be embarrassed in that scenario. So a lot of it stems from like not wanting to be embarrassed in front of other people, and it's like it's weird because I can't even really hear what you're saying in your head, but me imagining the things that you would be saying about me in your head is really where for me it probably would have stemmed from. Yeah.
Is it because you know what you would have said about people in your head?
It's not necessarily, at least not to me. I don't. It's not even that. It's just like because I don't know. So it's like I think me not knowing exactly what the person is like thinking, because I'm like that. If they're thinking the worst thing, and so I guess to a degree it is. But if they're thinking the worst thing that I can imagine, is like, dang, that's tough. But it's like I never really know. They might not even been paying attention. Right? It could have been like, yeah, I was looking at something else. I was on my phone, like whatever the case may be. But like in my mind, I was thinking a lot of the just like how people were, like what people were what people were thinking about me. When it's like I'll never know unless they tell me, and two, it's like it has nothing to do. It really has nothing to do with me, right? But yeah, like I told you guys this before, this story. But like when I remember I was in third grade. I'm giving a presentation. I didn't want to give the presentation. My dad was like, "Nah, why don't you want to go to school?" I'm like, I'm glad to give a presentation. And he like, "Oh no, you got to go to school now." I'm like, "Dang, I should have just told you I wasn't feeling well. That would have been a better." Anyway, so I go in the middle of me doing my presentation. I accidentally smack over the trifoldable. And I'm just like, oh man. And I was like, in my head, I heard people laughing. I don't know if people were laughing, but in my head, it was like I heard people laughing, and I was like, I'm already nervous, and I'm like, dang, I'm up here looking foolish. I don't want to up here look like Ashanti. I'm cool. So it's like, that's where it stemmed from for me.
Okay, so
Where did it stem from for you?
I think same thing as far as childhood. Because image was so important, growing up in the church and stuff like that. I think that was one aspect of it, but then it was also like, when you like the pressure to like get straight A's and that type of stuff. And that wasn't necessarily the hardest thing, but it's like keeping that up for the rest of your life. It's like it's just training you to be like, yeah, everything is supposed to be perfect. Like you're supposed to be achieving at the highest level at every moment in your life. And what
I was gonna say that could be a reason why I wanted a brother, as well as my sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wanted another. I just wanted a fourth child, a brother, so we didn't have to get straight A's together. Like I wasn't a straight A'er. I just need somebody I can C's and B's with.
I was a straight A'er, but it was like it felt like
I always got like 98 in art.
It's good.
In all my electives. Love them classes.
I got a C one time. I can't remember what class it was. Actually, I think I got my first C in an actual class in college.
Oh, I got my first F in like second grade. I was like, wow.
Wasn't that Spanish?
Yeah.
No, I remember that.
Me and the whole gang we
That's
fell
wild.
together.
That's wild. I just want to say I'm glad that like my brother is a lot older, because the fact that you remember when he got an F is crazy. It's like that was Spanish class. Right?
It was such a big deal in the house. It's hard not to forget.
Hola, ¿cómo estás? Bien, ¿y tú? Así. Ay, coño.
So, yeah, I didn't get my first. I got my first, like, I've gotten, like, a C or a D on a test before in, like, middle school. And it was only, like, one time. But, like, actually getting a C in a class, my first time ever was in college. It was physics. But other than that, I feel like I got all A's except for that. So, I think that's where it started for me. Like, now that I'm actually thinking about it, between that and then, like I said, church and stuff like that. Because, honestly, I've always felt like like church people are the most judgmental, and I was included in that. I'm working on it, y'all. But like when it comes to, so it used to make me nervous to be like singing at church, doing solos and stuff. But not only that, our family always has something to say.
Always be having something to say.
Mom, if you're watching, you'll catch that later. But it's always some type of like critique. And I didn't realize that until a few weeks ago. So I think the combination of those three things just kind of made me feel like, all right, well, if I do anything, it has to be perfect. And it has to be a certain standard, of course, because I hold myself to a certain standard. So this has to be a certain standard, and I can't fail. And if I do, don't worry about it. It never happened. And like, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I also think school plays a huge part in it. There's no reward for failing. Like nobody gives you like, especially when it comes to just getting the answer. It's like you have to get the answer in this specific way. If you don't get this in this specific way, you fail.
Yeah.
And it's like there's no, life doesn't work like that. Like a lot of the things that you do, you have a bunch of different iterations, and eventually you get it to work. Like in school, it's like, all right, today's test day, and if you don't pass, hey, you're not really getting three chances at this test until you can get it and understand it. It's like, nah, you just failed, and it's like you are a failure. That's how they be approaching it. You failed this class. You don't know math.
Yes, and it might be a thing where like I just didn't know how to show my work, but I know this answer.
But that'd be wild. Like I know the answer. I just know the answer. I don't know how I got to this answer.
But I know.
But it's right because I looked at Shakoya's page.
I was gonna say the same answer. I was gonna say, yeah, I looked over. It's right. I don't know how I got it. I looked over, but man was out there cheating.
Nah,
but how do you get the answer?
But sometimes it really be like that. Like I know how to get this answer, but it's not the way that you showed me. Or even sometimes when you would you would learn it a certain way in class, when you go home, like let's say you still didn't understand it. Sorry, I just hit my mic. Let's say you still didn't understand it. Your parents sometimes taught you a different way. And then you're like, okay, well, I understand it this way. So then you go to school and you do it the way that you understand it, but it's not the way that the teacher taught you in class. So then you get points off because this isn't the right work. Well, did I get the right answer?
School was not designed to create thinkers.
It was designed to create stinkers.
You got it, Ma. What do they say? Garbage in, garbage out. Bada boom, bada bang.
But like, yeah, I think school has and I never thought about this before, but like school really had such a huge role in my level of, I guess, wanting to be a perfectionist in the things that I do. But you guys both said that you have started to learn to allow yourself to fail. How uncomfortable is that for you?
I mean, I don't on a level of like what, like sleeping on a beautiful mattress to sleeping on a better net, like what? How,
yeah.
I mean, it's uncomfortable. It's not as uncomfortable as I imagined. I think a lot of things are worse in my head than it is in actual reality. So like in my head, I'm thinking people gonna, like I said, people looking, there's somebody in the back laughing, and then but in reality, I mean, yeah. One of y'all laughing. But,
we gotta re-record that. I was on the same note.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like it can get very uncomfortable, but for the most part, it's never as uncomfortable as as I imagined it was in my head, and I just have to like step out of my head before I go into those scenarios. The only ones that are super uncomfortable is the unplanned, I don't want to say embarrassment, but the unplanned embarrassment where it's like I had no intention of like if I know in my mind that it's like, all right, I'm gonna go in here and there's a chance that I might fail in front of people, I can prepare a little bit. When I can't prepare for it, it's like, ooh, wow, I just gotta sit here and just let this feeling ride. It's like, this feel like a long minute.
What about you?
I agree with everything you just said. One, I don't really be that embarrassed, like in public, because if we go back to the appearance thing, you never let them see you sweat. So I be fine. I be content. The confidence be there. So it doesn't allow me to really feel embarrassed. And what was the question? Because I do have another answer. I just need to hear the question again.
How uncomfortable is it now that you like started allowing yourself to fail?
It's not as uncomfortable as I be thinking it is, or it would be, because I'm learning and I'm seeing that people actually don't care. Like, so if you get the wrong answer, nobody, like in real life, if you get the wrong answer or say the wrong thing, 9 times out of 10, nobody's gonna say anything. The most they're gonna do is tell you the right answer or show you how to get to the right answer, or nothing at all. So it's like I have 2 out of 3 chances to get this right from somebody's response to me failing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not really that uncomfortable once you realize that failure. Never mind, I was thinking of fear. False evidence.
You see, your failure is false evidence.
False advertising.
Finally accepting I's learning. Finally accepting I's learning.
I's learning?
I's. That's a conjunction. I is. I am. I's. I's learning. Universal. Universally.
R.
Responsibly.
E.
Easily.
Easily.
S.
Substantial. My sense of success is substantial. Oh man, I don't know where I was going, but we here now.
Man, oh man.
So for me, I feel like same thing. It's not as uncomfortable as I thought. I think that the idea of me failing is a lot more uncomfortable than the actual failure, because now I'm to a point, I think ever since we read The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F is when I was like, oh, like, because I feel like I used to have our parents in the back of my head, like, with everything I did. I used to be like, oh, they're going to hear this, or they're going to see this, or I want them to be proud of this. And it's like, who cares? Mm-hmm. Just do it. Like, so now, at the end of it,
Dave Chappelle, when he said that to me, I heard Dave
Just
Chappelle.
do it. Keep it in the comments, bitch. All right. But
sound like you was talking to me. My bad. Won't happen again.
That wasn't to you. All right. Dang.
My bad.
Now all I'm hearing is my sense of success is substantial. All right. So now when I do things and like I do fail or it doesn't go how I thought it was gonna go, I literally just take inventory and I just thank God that I even did it. Like, I feel a lot more relief at the fact that I just went ahead and tried this thing. Like, if it didn't work out or I didn't like it, all right, cool. I don't have to do this again. And I also don't have to sit around and wonder what it would be like if I finally did what I had desired to do all these years. Mm-hmm. And now it's just like, oh, well, I tried it. I hated it. Or it didn't work out. I might need more practice. Do I actually want to put more practice into this? Because sometimes the answer is no. And then I could just kind of go from there. But, yeah, now I'm in a space where the thought of it is more uncomfortable. And I'm just happy that I did it.
I agree. I was going to say one thing that I've been thinking about last night. I couldn't sleep because I took a nap at 10 o'clock. But that's neither here nor there. The most important part is that I had a nap. But the one thing that I was thinking about was the difference between me and the people who are where I would want to be is that they promote themselves, or they have people to promote them, or they put their stuff out. That's the only difference. Talent wise, on all levels, I'm there. Wanting to do it, belief and all that, I'm there. It's just, they took the initiative to put themselves out there.
I agree. I mean,
I was just one last thing. Regardless of if it was perfect, it was perfect for the moment. So like,
that be the thing. Okay, go ahead.
You go ahead.
I was just gonna say, a lot of times that is like a very real thing of being like, oh, it's not time for this, or like the moment has to be perfect. Even if you finished whatever you were working on, you like, okay, I just gotta wait for all of the stars to align perfectly before and it's like, just put it out there. Or even, I mean, it's not the easiest thing. I'm saying it like it's just super easy, but it is simple. Like, if you created this thing and you want the world to see it or hear it or feel it or experience it, then the only way that they'll get to do that is by you putting it out there. And whatever their feedback is their feedback, but it's out there. Like, you did it. And then if they hate it, you can adjust. Or it could be like, forget y'all.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's still on topic, but like I think we get so caught up in what people think of, or whatever it is, right? That like we're imagining like what people would say or what people are gonna do, and it's like people aren't even paying attention enough. Like, even when you like, in terms of having a conversation, right? People will have issues having conversation, and because they're in their head thinking about what's the perfect thing that I can say, so that when I'm saying this to this person, I can impress them. Versus like, if you just have the conversation, mind you, the other person is in their head doing the same thing, so neither one of you guys are even actually like listening. So it's like to me, it gives me free reign. It's like, well, if the person's not really even listening, it doesn't even matter if I mess up and say the wrong thing, because it's like, at the end of the day, they were so fixated on themselves that they missed whatever. They missed my mess up. So it's like their mess up wasn't even my mess up wasn't even a mess up, because they were like, I hope I don't mess up. And it's like,
and I feel like once you mess up, if they catch the mess up, they're never going to forget you, because it's like, oh, you remember you did they're going to remember you as spark connection. I'll be right back. Gotta check my tomatoes.
I was not ready for that.
So I gotta go check my tomatoes.
Yeah. It's breaking. Nose. Look. I just touched the tomato. Later. Scoop with a ladle. I see you later. I'm out in Dago. Never been to Dago. Heard I got Sego. Be like Masego. Beats on the Wego. I need a Fago. Strawberry peach. Strawberry meesh. You look like Meech. Don't want to speak. Learning you teach.
I don't know. Beatboxing for that long.
Yeah. Alright, I'm ready.
Water. Were you saying you were saying the last thing, right?
I have no idea what I said.
All right. Well, my other point was gonna be that I feel like we don't give ourselves enough. We don't give ourselves enough attempts. Like, when it comes to like to fail, like the first time we do it and we don't succeed, it's like, you know what? It's all right. That wasn't meant for me. And it's like, there's so many things that you rob yourself of the opportunity of learning and getting good at if you only try it one time. Yeah. So it's like, oh, it's not like if everybody was good, and we talk about this all the time, if everybody was good at everything to start, one, it would be boring, but two, it's like there would be no need to give effort into anything. Like, if you think about a language, the first time you try and say something in another language, you probably are going to sound terrible. Like, that's just in most cases.
She ain't like how I was speaking my Spanish.
Yeah, but she. She ain't like how you threw the words together.
Yeah.
He said, "Hola, this is Espanol."
She said, "Nah, that's way too American. way too F.
Say hi. I said, wagwan.
Why don't you say that?
That's the wrong language, sir.
That's funny, bro. I just feel like we don't give ourselves enough attempts. Like, just get some more shots up. It's gonna look ugly to start, but who cares?
So, how many attempts do you typically give yourself?
Now I give myself a lot. Well, actually, to be honest, when it comes to things, I give myself a lot of attempts, especially if I notice that I'm struggling with it. A lot of times I get mad. So, like, perfect example, I was playing chess one of the days, and I'm playing it against this computer, and I'm losing, right? But I keep rematching. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna get it. And then, like, I got so mad that I was like, I kept losing. It was like I zoned in, and I'm like, nah, we gonna figure this out. And it's like I was failing. If you would have looked at my record, how many times I lost, I failed a lot. But then I beat him. I was like, let's go, we got it, we here now. But it's like, for me, like, once I hit a certain number of like failures, it kind of lets it now it's like either I'm angry or I let go of like I'm supposed to look a certain way while I'm doing this. I end up just being like, no, I'm gonna get this W. I don't care how many L's I'm gonna take before I get this W. I'm gonna get this W. And that's for me, the more I do in general, the easier it is for me to get to a W at the end of the day. Hopefully I answered your question, but a lot. So for me, it's like I let myself kind of experiment and fail with a lot of stuff now. I wasn't always this way, or it just depends on certain things.
What about you?
For me, I'm glad that you posed this question, because when I first saw the video, I was like, we actually should give ourselves the opportunity to fail once a day, at least once a day. But to answer your question, I feel like that's the answer to your question. This is the answer to your question. I don't be expecting to fail. That could be why, like, when I fail, I'll be like, what's going on? Like, this is unheard of.
like, is there something wrong?
Like, I don't expect to fail. Yeah. So it's like, it'd be just like, I had to get to a point where to like actually understand and realize that it's okay to fail, and failure is normal. And failing isn't actually failing. Like, if you fail, it's not even a failure. Is just you didn't get the result that you wanted to get. So it might not be terrible, but this isn't the result that I wanted. So in my mind, it's a failure. But again, I don't expect to fail. So I don't know if I'm answering your question. So I guess I keep trying until I come out successful.
You keep doing what?
I put up more shots, more and more attempts until I come out successful.
Okay.
For the most part. We
are working to eliminate the word try out of our vocabulary, y'all. For me, the number I keep coming across lately is 10.
10 a month?
Not even just a month, but at whatever I'm doing, like, I get 10 attempts at it, like, to get it right. And then usually after there, I hit, like, my stride or my sweet spot, or I understand what didn't go right or what did. And I'll use my, I don't know why this number has been popping in my head, but when Kayla Ray was here and I was talking to her about making the bread, and she was like, well, Erica said failure is deferred success.
I like that.
That's good.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Wisdom.
But basically, when she asked like how many times I made it before it was right, I was like probably like 10 times. And then when I was recording earlier, usually what happens is, and I didn't realize this until we were just having this conversation, is that once I get to my 10th take, as of late, especially like if I'm not in the habit of like, I haven't been recording in a little while, but for the most part, when I get to my 10th take of whatever verse, chorus, or whatever part I'm singing, that's when I hit my stride and I start getting comfortable, or like I start to feel like I can play around with it more, or my voice is fully warmed up, or whatever. So literally, I got to, and this wasn't on purpose, but I got to about I don't remember. I did the verse and the chorus, so I had done a few takes of both of those already, and then I realized I didn't set the BPM. So
dang, nabbit.
yeah, I didn't
Did y'all
change.
take the sign down? Oh
No, it's up there.
Oh, the door be open.
Yeah, I opened the door, so I didn't see the sign to remember to get it. So I literally was just like, you know what? At first I was like, dang, I already saved the session. But then I was like, man, I'll just delete all of these vocals. This will just be my warm up, and I'll start again. And then when I started recording again, I was like, oh, I never even got to my 10th take of this. So that's why this didn't sound as good as I wanted it to. And then I did the 10th take. It was like, oh, well, I did a couple more after that. But I was like, okay, I like how this sounds now. And I went from there. But for some reason, the number 10 keeps coming to me. So I guess right now, like, my number is, like, I guess failed like 10 times. And it might not always be like a big failure. It might be like something where maybe I just forgot to put a line here, or I might have tripped while I was trying to go on a jog. Man. Or something like, or even just like with the recipes, until I don't really get familiar with it until I make the stuff a lot. And right now, getting back into the habit of like really writing and stuff like that, I might have to write 10 songs before I'm back to feeling like I'm the hit factory again. So yeah, that's the number that is currently recurring.
That's good
for me right now.
I like that because, and I was saying something similar, but like the idea that after a certain number, it's almost like, I'll speak for myself when it comes to whether it's recording, anything. After a certain number of times, I literally let go of every expectation I had prior to it. So if I was like, nah, it has to sound a certain way, or I have to make it look pretty, after a certain amount of time, I don't care how it looks as long as I get it done. And like when I go in, so maybe the initial stuff is me trying to make, and this, I'm using this term loosely, but me trying to make it look nice, make it look pretty, do it in a fancy way. After I get to the whatever number, I don't know if mine is 10 or if it's more. It's probably more. But once I get to that number, I don't care about if this look ugly. Right now, we are going for a finished product. This has to be done. I don't care if the kitchen look messy when I'm making this cake. At the end of the day, did the cake come out of the oven? Does it taste good? That's where I'm at with it when it comes to like the creative stuff. Because like I think so much of it is how it looks or how I feel like I look. And it's like, there's nobody in the room with me.
Right.
Why do I care?
Ain't nobody.
I got 3 things. The first thing is, a while ago I was saying God told me I don't have to try anymore. Now we taking the word try out. I didn't understand like why, or like how to even explain not trying. And another thing that I realized was being is the highest form of self-love. But that's a different conversation for a different time. Other thing that I had was, what was the last thing you said?
10?
10 was her number, and
10 is my number. Yeah.
Okay. For me,
thanks.
Once I don't expect to fail, but now I'm realizing that failing is a part of it. So if we staying on recording, that's probably why I love vocal lesson, scalies. Then I can record. My voice already warmed up. I can get to where I need to be a lot faster. And it's like, okay, these first couple attempts, they wasn't it at all. But once I get it, now it's a thing of, that's fire, but I could do it better. So now I still be recording, like I keep recording the same part until I'm like, all right, that's the best take, or I love that one. It might not be the best one, but however that sounds, or however that, like, it might be a one little part that I feel that, and I'm like, that's the one.
Yeah. And even to your point, I think that sometimes it's not that for me, like the 10th try, that it's just a complete success. Sometimes on the 10th try, it's like, okay, I found my pocket that I was looking for. Or, okay, I couldn't figure out what thing I was doing wrong all of these times, but now I figured it out, so I could just tweak this thing, and then I can go from there, and then I can continue to improve. Like, I think that that's why I was saying sometimes it's not like a huge shift. Like sometimes it's literally like it failed because, like, if we were coding, if you accidentally put one extra number into the code or a period or something, just one little typo, the whole website could crash. I've done it before. I don't know how to code, so why was I doing it? Anyways, but it sometimes just takes like a minor tweak of like, let me just erase this one little typo, and then everything is like, oh, now it works. Everything is flowing properly. Erical said, oh, what you about to say?
No, you can read.
Erical said, because of my upbringing, I don't have a space to fail. I'm the smart one in my family. That's a lot of pressure.
I think it feels like you don't have the space to fail. You can still fail. Like I think all of it is really mental. Like, so it feels like you can't fail, but like there's really no consequence for us failing because everything happens after, like, you learn after failing. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't really, like, once you win, the only thing that happens usually is that you just repeat the formula. So you didn't learn anything new. You just repeat what you're doing.
Yeah.
When you fail, and it's, for me, especially there was a time when I talk to y'all about this all the time, but like I was playing Smash Bros. and I failed so many times that it forced me to, like, I literally had to stop, and I was like, you know what am I doing wrong? Because like this should not be this difficult for me right now. And it's like, that was like, had I not failed that many times, I would have never stopped and asked myself what's going wrong. Because like most people don't usually ask what's going right. So all of that to say, I think you have a space. You just have to allow yourself to like be in that space. Like it really is a lot more mental than we give ourselves credit for. And I was gonna say yours still on point? I just want to make sure it was something.
It was to Erical.
Okay, go ahead.
It's gonna be quick. I was also gonna say, I think that you have to create that space in your mind. Like, allow yourself to be in that space, because at the end of the day, it's your life. So if you want to try something and you fail, whether the pressure of them thinking that you're the smart one, that's not going to change. You still going to be smart. Like, you still going to be the smart one. If you say that you're the smart one, you're the smart one. But sometimes you got to take calculated risks, or sometimes you got to take a risk. You got to try new things so that you can learn new things. And or
I have a pro tip as well after you're done.
Yeah, so that you can learn new things, or even just figure out other things that you enjoy. Like, I don't think it's gonna. I think that a lot of times, or I know for me in the past, I thought it was gonna change what everybody else thought of me, and I mean, maybe it did, but also, did it affect my life? No. Like, their opinion of me being the smart one or me being the good child, it didn't change my life when I decided to start doing what I wanted to do, or taking risks or failing at things. So I think that's how you gotta look at it. But pro tip, and then hold on to your thought.
You don't have to share anything that you're doing until you get the desired result.
Oh, facts.
So like when you're doing new stuff, just do it in private. And then once it's like, oh, this is actually fire. Hey y'all, check out this thing I've been working on.
Yeah,
that helps.
Yeah, but I was doing that with a lot of stuff, especially the music. I was like, I'm not. Y'all will hear it when I feel comfortable enough to share. Like, all right, I've done this 300 times. You guys can hear this one. Like this is cool. Y'all can hear this one.
He do that to us, and we live here.
Yeah. But it's just being comfortable with that level of like.
Not wanting to be comfortable.
That's good.
First time I got that off.
That was good.
Yeah, but just being able to being able to share it when you're not as critical as you were when you're not the most critical. When you're not the most critical. That was good. You got it.
It was perfect timing. Oh man, but yes,
Yeah.
when you're not the most critical,
Yeah.
that is good. Y'all good pro tips, y'all.
And then I was gonna say to earlier point before you was like, you don't expect to fail. I don't expect to fail either, right? That's never in my expectation. I just go into stuff and I start doing stuff, and I was like, oh wow, that didn't work. Okay, all right, hold on, let's bring it back. Let's try again. That didn't work. Now I gotta sit up because I'm like, that didn't 2 times. Can I? Like, I didn't expect it to go right, but I didn't expect it to go wrong. I just expected neutralness. I don't know.
That's why I be bothering me so much when you be like, you know, a professional knows that you never get it right on the first. Who don't get it right on the first try?
And something that my bad.
I'm gonna get this right.
Something that I realize is that if you're getting everything right on the first try, you're probably not doing things that are difficult. You're probably doing things that are easy, which is like, you could probably do more. That's what I had to learn for myself. You're not challenging yourself at all. Because like, if everything is easy, clearly you need to do something that's not easy. Go ahead.
Boo. Not wanting a challenge. That's actually funny. I see why y'all.
Oh man, ooh, I'm glad you're getting to experience the joy.
Yeah, the boo is good. The boo is good.
Oh, I was gonna say the saying is, you mix 2 sayings together.
Oh, what?
The saying is, the professional knows that it's gonna take twice as long.
Oh, that's.
And
I,
what Damani says is,
when do we ever get anything right on the first
yeah,
That's
that's
what
what
he
I
said.
don't like.
That's
The
what he
professional
said.
one, it takes twice as long. It be like that. Like when I was recording the other day, I was supposed to be 5:30 to 6:30. It ended up being 5:30 to like 7:40, 7:45 ish.
Yeah, he was, something like that.
I was just gonna
Still not done.
I was just gonna say that makes sense when you with what you were just talking about like dang. Oh, when you said that you don't expect to fail, but also when you were saying that if you're doing something and it's easy, that means you're not challenging yourself. So I think that the idea of it taking twice as long is like, oh, the professional knows that what they're working toward or what they're doing is also challenging them, whether it be their creativity or their skill level, their mindset. So it might, I don't want to say it always takes twice as long, but it very well is likely to take twice as long because it is a challenge. Versus if it was something that was easy that you do all the time, then you could clock it and be like, oh yeah, this is going to take me 10 minutes. This will take me exactly 10 minutes because that's how long it takes me every single time. But yeah, so I feel like I had one more question. Okay, with everything that we talked about. So you said that you feel like it's important to allow yourself to fail like once a day. You said that you have unlimited attempts. And you don't necessarily put a number on it, but until you feel like you get to the flow state.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I said the number that keeps coming up for me more recently is 10. Do you feel like... Sorry, I'm trying to put this question into question form.
Take your time. Take your time. Go ahead.
Okay, we also talked about how school plays a huge role, and this is going to shift us a little bit, so this going to be the last question. But we also talked about how school likely plays a huge role in the, I guess, modeling the idea of like everything having to be perfect, right? Do you feel like it's important that you teach your children that it's okay to fail?
Absolutely. I absolutely. Yeah, because the lessons you take from failing are so much more important, like I said, than the ones that you take from winning. And I think you have to create similar to what Eric was saying. You have to create a safe space for your children to fail so that they can feel confident enough to try things that they're not confident in doing.
Or even to just keep going.
Yeah.
Like after the failure. Like it's like,
Yeah, like you have to take some of the edge off of, or take some of the weight off of like every failure. And I think the more you fail, the less a failure weighs. Like the less you fail, it feels like, dang, this is everything. Like, this feels like so much, as opposed to if I failed 100 times, what's 100 times to 101? It don't mean nothing to me. It's like, so I think it takes away a lot of the weight, and I think you should do it so that they're not afraid of like messing up, and they can just continue to keep going, like Bree said.
Good stuff. Yeah. Got anything to add?
only other thing I was going to say was you should show your children that you fail too. Like, just don't make it a thing of you're going to fail. It's like, nah, like, it's part of it. I wasn't always great at such and such, or I mean, I'm learning this thing right now and it's not going how I thought it was going, or how I thought it would go, but we still doing it. But just being an example, because kids do what they see, not what they hear.
Yeah. And I mean, I think like kids, like, there's some things that you're gonna do really well on the first few attempts, and you're like, wow, this is cool. There's gonna be a lot of things that you don't do well, though, and it's like, and that's okay as well. Like, if you want to get better at it, you can just work on it more, like put up more attempts. And yeah, I just think that's a big thing. And something else that I saw somebody, I forgot about it, but I remembered it as we were having this conversation, was she was saying that she gives herself 5 L's for the day before she labels the day a failure.
Who said that?
It was somebody on Instagram. Shout out to you, lady, whoever you are. But she was saying before she considers the day a failure, or she writes off like, I had a bad day, she's like, I had 5. So it's like, all right, cool. First one, we're still a good day. Second one, she's like, if I get past 5, now I'm like, all right, this day has gotten away from me. I can kind of label, but it's like giving yourself a cushion to be able to fail, like a certain amount of time to be able to fail every day. And like, I like that. I haven't adopted that in like mentally, but yeah, I think we should just give ourselves more opportunities to fail throughout the day, so that it doesn't mean anything. Like, it doesn't phase us. It's like, all right, cool. I mean, I failed at making my cake, but I'm gonna make another 3 till I get it right.
Word, because I'm coming back for that ice cream cake. I'm making another one.
With the food thing, it wasn't until I literally started buying my own groceries where, like, I didn't care about if I got it right on the first try, on the first attempt. So now it's like, if it's and like everything that I made was edible. But it might not be to taste, but it's definitely edible. And it was a point where if I really didn't like it, we just gonna go to I'm gonna go to Popeyes or Zaxby's or something else right up the street. But now it's everything that I make.
Trying to find some wood to knock on.
Yeah. That's not wood.
It's all
the
good.
Majority of things that I make, it's edible. Not everything. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna stand on that. Everything I make be edible. It might not be to taste, but everything I make is edible.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that applies for everything. Whether I've failed probably the most in music, so that for me that's a big thing. Like, I've given myself enough times to like experiment and do different things. So like, whether it's me writing, whether it's me making songs, like, I'll do stuff and I'll be like, well, what if I did it this way? And it's like, all right, I've always written this way. What if I try writing this way? Or what if I try writing this way? What if I make a beat this way? What if I do this way? And it's like, it's no stakes for me, because it's like, all right, if this sucks, similar to like with the food, if this like sucks, I don't suck. That thing just happened to suck today. But it's okay, because next time, okay, that didn't work, and it's like you never get a chance to find out what might work if you don't try it out. So go ahead, my bad.
I was just gonna say, with that, it's very difficult to fail creatively.
Because you can always be like, it's just creative, artistic expression.
And it's like, it's always trial and error. Like, I don't see, for me, this is just for me.
Yeah.
Creativity and failure don't make sense together in my mind.
That's why he be like, I was not expecting to fail.
Well, that makes sense, yeah. I was gonna say
these things don't go together. This isn't math. Like, what are you? Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, isn't everything creative? So there isn't any failure then.
There is no failure.
That's a song.
In God, yeah.
Green Earth.
Green Earth.
Oh, that's not the word.
What?
That man singing the Captain Planet. Said Green Earth. Earth Day. Dang, that's time. I just realized. Green Earth.
Now I gotta find the song. There is no failure in God.
It's Green Earth.
No.
Oh no, where you got that one from?
God's green earth. I get it now. That is absolutely not a part of the song. It's not a part of the song.
It makes sense. Creativity. It's not a failure. Trial and error.
Oh man. You guys said so much. And I would say that I also agree that we should teach our children about it. That it's okay to fail, that it's a safe space. I'm probably going to want to call it something different. So if I come up with a new name for failure, don't mind me. I just like naming
God's Green Earth.
I don't think
that's not
failure. God's Green Earth. I don't feel like God's Green Earth was a failure.
Yeah, that's like creativity. They don't go together.
Yeah, it just don't mesh.
I might put failure in the same bucket as try and can't.
Yeah, I want to call it something different, but I feel like I don't know. But I will definitely teach my kids that like there's progress in those fail moments. And I feel like even teaching them that it's not a failure if you learn something from it. Like if you learn something from it, that means like you don't have to chalk this whole thing up as like this is a complete failure. It's like you got something from this. What did you get? Write it down, figure out how to use it, and move forward or improve on this thing. Versus being like, all right, just quit. Keep your day job. I heard that a lot. Not to me, but like when we was kids, we used to say, yeah, you just keep your day job. And like just letting my kids know, like, it's okay. It's okay. We're gonna try again if you want to.
Word. What did the prophet Aaliyah say? If at first you don't
succeed.
My bad, I was doing the 3LW girl with the lisp.
You was doing promise.
Yeah, I was doing that. I don't know why I was doing that in her voice.
She was from 3LW?
No!
I didn't think so.
What? No,
wait, promises.
Yeah,
that was her?
Yeah.
That was 3LW?
Yeah, she was also in Cheetah Girl.
I thought it was just one person.
Yeah. Nah, she was in.
Yeah, she was a girl from 3LW.
Yeah, she was in 3LW. Yeah, that's what I was.
Wow. All right, we're gonna wrap it up here.
What 3LW song?
Prophet Aaliyah said, if at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again.
Attempt again.
Do it again.
Do it now. I couldn't figure out anything else.
Right, just do it again and do it and do it again and again.
What DJ Khaled said? Another one. That's what I'm gonna be saying. Another one. I'm gonna try that cake again. Anyways, thank y'all for joining us for another episode of the Grae Area podcast.
Grae Area. Woo! Oh, I did that without. Wow, that's crazy. That's the first time I ever did that.
How many times? Let us know. How often do you allow?
It's like God.
Give me a
super.
Do you allow yourself to fail at least once a month? And if so, is it just once a month, or do you allow yourself to fail more often? Are you like, ew, failure is not a thing in my life? Like, let us know below. But also, be sure to tune in next. Cut that out. Be sure to tune in next week for another episode. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Hit that notification bell. And if you want to watch this podcast live, join us on Patreon. But we will see you guys next week. Comment below. Bye!
Adios!
Stay blessed, stay black, people.
You say what?
And know yourself. Know your worth. Jukebox, hit me with another jam. Get on my face. Get on my motherfucking face. Please. Push the goddamn